Hello, trading has closed on the 5th of June 2025. As always, we'll do our disclaimer, we'll go over our calls and then make our predictions. This is my trading plan for Friday. Friday is June 6, 2025. Please remember I can change my plan. My plan can be wrong and trade at your own risk. We're looking for the pattern with the early low, which is this. Tomorrow should have the early high. We thought we were close to a top. If we hadn't seen one already, and I still feel that way, we keep having candidates, and this is a pretty negative pattern, but I don't think the deal is sealed quite yet. This is just a review of what we said. Well, we had this magenta line. We said the only way the rally could continue is if we gapped over it and maintained that. We did not gap over that line, so that was resistance. So we got that today, and so far resistance is held, and we've broken through this line of support. And that's all negative stuff. But for right now, anxious as I am to call a top here, we still have a series of higher highs and higher lows, and until that changes, it's always possible we have one more fling up without changing anything. I'm not saying that'll happen. I'm just saying you really want to see lower highs and lower lows for confirmation when the rally is this strong, and we haven't seen that yet. Doesn't mean that we won't. Well, I would still like for this to be the top, and if so, I'd like to find some way to count this as being over. Day after day after day, I find some count that works. I just can't find one today. Now, the fact that I can't count this wave up as complete doesn't make me right. Sometimes I'll just miss a count, but maybe it's not over. This is what's called a Trader Vic 2B top. Here's the old high. Yesterday we had a close over the old high, and today we took out the low of that bar. So according to his rules, that marks a top. Anything needs confirmation, so we have to trade 1 cent under today's close, and that shouldn't be too hard. Just remember, if we gap up and hold it tomorrow, that doesn't count. We also had bar 13 finishing early of a DeMark sequential sell signal. Now, just because you have it finishing early doesn't mean you won't get one that doesn't finish early. But it's legitimate to call a top here, and what I'd like to see from that is pretty much an impulsive move down. And I'm not seeing it. This is an overlapping correction, and those things tend to reverse at some point. Doesn't mean it reverses tomorrow. Now, I can't go over all my MEJT rules because of a contract I have with the people who published my stuff. But let's go over some stuff which isn't in the book. The system is now 23 years old and it still works. You don't get a morning signal every day, but we got one today. We got an ultimate sell. There's the minimum. You almost always, you're going to get more than the minimum, which we did. So that's played out. When you get a signal in the morning, and then the signal was any move outside of the early morning range wasn't going to stick. And when you have this bar and this bar closed right in the middle of the range, it's pretty much a given that by the time lunchtime comes around, which is between 12 and 1 New York time, you're going to be trading back in the range of this area. And even though we had this huge move, MEJT said it was false, said it would reverse, and right on time we came right back into that area. Now this is a support resistance area. Support doesn't have to hold, but often when you hit it back at lunchtime it will. MEJT once again said this move up was false, wouldn't stick, said this drop wouldn't stick. All that's played out. And I grant you, people who use the system probably wouldn't have chased this move up, but they also wouldn't be around for that drop. And when it started dropping here, and you knew there was a much lower target likely to hit within an hour, it's entirely possible somebody familiar with the system would think it was a low-risk entry for a short trade and would most likely make enough to pay for my book or my webinar just with this one trade. And even if you didn't take it, it would keep you out of getting hurt by chasing this one. Well, how about the close? This is not a bearish close if you ask me. This is a support resistance area. We hit the lower target, got more again. There's only an hour left to trade. I mean, if you're ever gonna collapse, here's the chance. And then we recovered over all these prior lows. We couldn't hold them. And the fact that we broke them in the last 10 minutes doesn't mean much to me. I think that's a wall into the close, and the wall into the close often is going to gap over these highs when the market reopens. And if you look at futures, that gap down continued, was satisfied immediately, and ever since then we've been going up, and we're now back to unchanged. So to me, for now at least, this is a mark of panic selling, which followed into the early after hours trade. I have no idea what's going to happen after non-farm payrolls comes out tomorrow. I'm always flat going into that. But to me, even though we have all the elements for a top, we also have, when I'm looking at all the elements for that top being delayed a day by gapping up and taking this out. There's no reason, there's nothing in this which prevents this whole negative thing from being invalidated by gapping up tomorrow. Not that it will happen, but I'm saying it certainly could. I mean, if this were a real high, I want an impulse down. That's not what this is. And I wouldn't want everybody throwing in the towel right in the last 10 minutes in the first trade after the close and then reversing it. I can explain dropping some more here, but I don't have a count that says this is over. And this, to me, during the important time, looks like support could be holding. Now again, we open down here tomorrow, then support fails, and I'm wrong, but I'm not going to hold the position overnight like this. Well, Friday's pattern has the early high regardless of where we open. Typically it's a rally day with a high in the final hour. Failure is a straight line drop. The non-farm payroll report comes out before the open tomorrow. I can't predict the response to major economic reports with a sufficient degree of accuracy. There were a number of negative developments today. We have bar 13 of a marked sequential sell. It finished early, which is allowed, but this doesn't prevent a pure bar 13 from printing later on. We have a trader VIC 2B top. We broke a significant trend line. We gapped up, hit a higher high, and high for the movement and closed negative. That's all negative stuff. But any move, no matter how strong, needs confirmation, meaning if we maintain a gap up tomorrow, that's an if. If we maintain a gap up tomorrow, today's break lower does not count. And I just can't rule that out. Negative as I am, that doesn't surprise me in the least. I have no clear wave count saying the rally's over. We recovered a break under intraday lows. There's a wall into the close. I'm not going to call the open. I just can't do it when these reports come out. I have no way to do it. But I'm saying I can't rule out gapping up and having one more fling up. It's if we're going to go lower, we're going to go much lower, and I'm afraid of taking the short side too early. I'd like for this to be a top, but I'm not certain it is yet. I need confirmation. We won't know that till tomorrow. It's the pattern with the early high. It could be a rally day in spite of today's action. Could be. So it's the pattern with the early high. Don't forget, if it isn't a rally day, it should be a straight line drop. And let's see how we open. And that's today's call.